Hello fellow readers and readresses, and welcome to the fourth installment of The Lord of the Reeds, the most precious TBR game. As June is already over, it's time to select my TBR for July. If you're not familiar with the game, I will advise you to watch the first installment over here, although the game has slightly changed since then. But it's not too complicated, so let's go through the main mechanics real quick. We have two 6-sided dice which we roll 5 times to select 5 books. We roll the dice, we move around the map, we land on a tile, and we select a book based on the prompt that this tile gives us. Speaking of tiles, we have several kinds. The first one is the empty tile. Landing upon this tile will prompt us to dip into the bookshelf jar. Here we have all the books on my bookshelf that I haven't read yet. I dip inside, I pick a book. Then we have the 2023 TBR jar tile. When we land on this one, we're gonna dip into my 2023 TBR jar. Here we have all the books that I have deemed a must-read for 2023. Then we have the prompt cards tile. This is one of my favorite tiles. Landing on this one, we're gonna pick up the prompt cards, we're gonna select one, and we're gonna read a book based on the prompt that we get from this card. How many times can I say prompt and cards? Then we have the series jar tile. Landing on this one, we're gonna dip into my series jar. I finally got a proper pot, even though it's not see-through. It's very nice. This pot contains all the series that I'm currently in the middle of reading. When we land on this tile, we dip here, we pick a series and we read it. It's always a double-edged sword. Then we have all the genre tiles. We have graphic novel, fantasy, science fiction, mystery and thriller, classics, manga, non-fiction, and historical fiction. We land on this tile and we have to select a book that corresponds to this genre. Then we have the +1 book tile. When we land on this one, we're gonna dip into the bookshelf jar and we're gonna add an extra roll to this month's TBR. Next is the bookstore tile. When we land on this one, we're gonna go either to the bookstore or to the library, and I'm gonna pick a book to read from there. Last, but definitely not least, we have the mission style. When we land on this one, we're gonna have to select a mission. We have 9 original and unique missions, and fulfilling each of those missions is gonna unlock one of the characters of the Fellowship of the Reed. We have naturally 9 of those. I have already unlocked 2 of the characters of the Fellowship of the Reed, the first of which is Gimli, who I'm also currently using as my avatar to play the Lord of the Reeds. And the second one I have just unlocked since last month's TBR. I got the mission, The Weakness of Men, which prompted me to finish a DNF, and I was actually able to do that. And the character that unlocks is Boromir. And you can see his little avatar here, and I'm gonna stick it to my board. There. Upon gathering all of the characters of the Fellowship of the Reed, I'm gonna treat myself to a book haul because I am currently on a book buying ban. And I think that's the general gist of it. If you'd like to play the Lord of the Reeds, I have all the printable files in the video description, but if you don't have access to a printer or the opportunity to print, or you just don't like doing it, I also have a digital version of the game, which is also accessible through a link in the video description. Now, enough talk, let's play. And we have a 6. Last time we finished up on this prompt card style. We move 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh great, and we landed on the TBR jar. Alright, we're starting with violence, and we're gonna have to dip in the series jar. As I mentioned earlier, this is a bit of a double-edged sword because there are some series here that I really don't care to continue. But let's see. Why is this so difficult? We're gonna continue with Skyward. All right. So, Skyward is a young adult sci-fi fantasy by Brandon Sanderson, which is one of my favorite authors out there, and I have read only the first book, Skyward. That happened back in 2019 maybe, and since then I've been planning on reading the second book, Starsight, and it's actually part of my 2023 TBR, so I am really happy to do so, but I'm a little nervous because I might have forgotten a little bit, although now that I think back to the story, I think I remember it pretty well. This is basically the story of the remainder of humanity that has taken refuge on a planet where they constantly get attacked by some aliens, so they live underground, and their society is arranged in such a way that everybody has a certain job, the most respected among which is to be a pilot of one of the fighter planes. And here enters our main character, Spencer, who wants to be a pilot, but she's hindered by the fact that her father used to be such and deserted, and being that cowardice is considered one of the biggest offenses, her and her family are a bit ostracized. So we follow her and some of her friends in their struggle to become fighter pilots. I remember very much enjoying the first book, and it ended on such a spot that it made me very curious to continue with the series, yet here I am years later, still not have done it, but finally I'm doing it. I'm very excited. And Skyward obviously goes back into the pot. Role number 1 is history, and I'm very happy with this choice, so now let's move to role number 2. We have a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we landed on 2023 TBR jar. Nice. All right, 2023 TBR jar. I think we went 2 whole games without landing on this tile, and today we have the chance to select a second book from my 2023 TBR. Very nice. I'm excited about this. There, that's the book. Oh, Crooked Kingdom. All right, this is a young adult fantasy and the second book in the Six of Crows duology. However, I have already read it, so I'm gonna select another one. Love that book, by the way. It was very nice. Let's see. Second try. This is the book. Is this how you look at it? Yes. We have The Immortals of Meluha. All right. So, The Immortals of Meluha by Amish is, I believe, an adult fantasy and the first book in the Shiva trilogy. And all I know about it is that it's Indian-based fantasy and was recommended to me by my friend Monica. So this is gonna be a total surprise. I am excited. I don't think I've ever read Indian-inspired fantasy before, so this is gonna be a great experience, I'm pretty sure. This is part of my 12 books recommended by 12 friends to read in 2023. So I'm looking forward to it and I'm very, very excited. All right, roll number 2 is done. We are forging ahead with my 2023 TBR. Let's see what roll number 3 is gonna bring. And we've got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we landed on the prompt cards. All right, I love landing on the prompt cards because they usually give me a little bit of a freedom of choice. Let's see. I'm going to pick this card. A book with a person/people on the cover. Very nice. Let me go look through the books that we have on my shelves. Okay, so it took me exactly 30 seconds to select the book that I'm gonna read, and that is The Lies of the Ajungo by Moses Ose Utomi. This is a new release, and I believe the first published work by the author. It is a novella and is set in the desert, and that is pretty much all I remember from the synopsis. This is one of my most anticipated releases of 2023, and I can't wait to pick it up. I am so excited about this. I love desert settings, and this cover gives me all the desert vibes. It was my plan to read this book in the summer anyway, and now that we have this prompt, we have this person here on the cover of the book. So excited about this. Roll number 3 is done. I am super, super happy with this choice, and it's now time for roll number 4. And we have an 11. Nice. Let's see what this big number is gonna bring us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, come on. Really? I was so happy. So, my game has betrayed me. This is the first time I actually land on this tile, though I have used my bookshelf jar before for the empty tiles. Now let's see. It's a little bit upsetting, though I probably would have read more than 5 books anyway, but whatever. Let's see. This is the book that I'm gonna read. Oh, and then there were none. Well, this was actually on my 2023 TBR and I have already read it. So as you can see, my jars aren't entirely updated, but it's impossible to go through over 300 books and update them all the time. Anyway, we're gonna select another one. Okay, second try. This one. Who made these so difficult to open? We have Anne of Avonlea. Anne of Avonlea by Lucy Maud Montgomery is a classic in the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series. Anne of Green Gables is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it 2 years ago, was it? And I loved it. It's such a lovely book, such a great atmosphere. Love the character, just everything about it is great. And this is the second book. There are probably 8 or 9 books in this series, and I wasn't initially planning on reading any more of them, but I saw this in a bookstore here and I just couldn't pass it by. And now I guess I am reading it. The series follows an orphaned little girl who gets adopted by accident by a brother and a sister, and then stays to live there and discovers the amazing world of Avonlea, and we get to discover it with her. And it's such a beautiful, cozy, heartwarming, and heartbreaking at times little story. I had such a great time with it. I hope I enjoyed this one as well. I know it's gonna deal with more grown-up topics, I'm assuming, but still, I think it's gonna be worth it. At least I hope so. All right, so 4 rolls down, 2 more to go. So let's go into roll number 5. And we have an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we landed on an empty tile, which means yet another bookshelf jar pick. Damn it, we have managed to avoid the bookshelf jar for 2 games in a row, and now it seems there's no getting rid of it. Okay, this is the book. Book number 5 is gonna be The Jungle Book. Oh my, very unexpected choices today. So, The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling is a very well-known classic that I have never personally read. I have watched the Disney movies and other adaptations, but I have never read the book itself, and I saw it a few months ago, maybe definitely last year, in a bookstore here, and I was like, hey, why not give it a try? And I guess that's what I'm doing now. I had forgotten I owned this. 5 rolls down, we have 1 more to go. Let's hope it's the last one. And so far, again, very unexpected choices this month, which I'm not excited to read, but they also weren't necessarily on my radar, so it's a little bit strange, you know? Let's go into the last, hopefully, roll. Roll number 6. We have an 11. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, come on! We land on Add a Book. Again. This is a joke, okay? I have not landed on this tile ever, and now twice in the same game. Preposterous. Who made this? From the depths of the jar, we are picking this book. Call Down the Hawk. What the hell was that? Oh, Maggie Stiefvater, maybe? Book number 6 is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't know much about this book besides that it's a fantasy and it's about dreams, or dreams are involved somehow in the magic system. I have read a chapter of this, I think like a year ago, and I wasn't too impressed, but you know how it is. Sometimes the book takes a little bit longer to get you into it, so I am hopeful that I'm gonna like this. Again, totally not on my radar. It's gonna be an experience this month. All right, 6 rolls down, and somehow we still have 1 more to go, so let's get it over with. Roll number 7. And we have a 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and we landed on the missions. All right, mission cards time. What an eventful installment in this game. Let's see. What is it gonna be? What is it gonna be? This one. And the mission is Gathering of the Fellowship, finish a series. Great. Okay, so I guess I have to finish a series. Good thing is I am in the middle of over 50, so there's definitely something to be finished. I'm just gonna go into my reading diary table to see what I'm in the middle of and select something that could potentially be finished with just 1 book. Okay, so I looked through all the series that I'm currently in the middle of reading. There are several that I could finish with just 1 book, and I narrowed the choice down to 3. The first of which is the Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo. This is a duology. I read the first one, Nine House, last year, and I quite enjoyed it, and Hellbent, the second and last book in this duology, actually came out earlier this year, so this could be one of the choices. The second choice that I have is Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. This is the 3rd book in the Farseer trilogy and is an adult fantasy of about 800 pages, so it is a big book, but I did enjoy the first book very much. I liked the second one, although I had some issues with one particular relationship, and I am excited to eventually finish it, so this is choice number 2. And the third choice is a very special one, since this game is actually named after the series, and that is The Return of the King, which is the third and final book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I have never finished the entire trilogy before, and this is going to be the first time I'm reading it. It is a big book too, and it's a little bit difficult to go through sometimes, but I wanted to finally finish it, so maybe this is gonna be it. I have these 3 choices. I haven't decided what to do with them, but I'm gonna launch a poll on my channel, and please go ahead and let me know which one of these 3 series you think I should continue with. Okay, so the results of the poll are in. Hello there. I am currently at the seaside on a family vacation, and I was reviewing the results, and we have 61 votes, as you can see. Oh my god, I need to clean my screen. And we also have a very clear winner, and that is The Return of the King, which is gonna be the book that I read this month to finish a series. Thank you very much to everybody who voted. I very, very much appreciate it. You all get +2 intelligence, as it states clearly here in the contract. So, my TBR for July is going to be Starside by Brandon Sanderson for a series jar pick, The Lies of the Ajungo by Moses Ose Utomi for a book with a person on the cover, The Immortals of Meluha by Amish for a 2023 TBR jar pick, Call Down the Hawk, Anne of Avonlea, and Jungle Book for random bookshelf jar picks, and The Return of the King for the mission to finish a series. But wait, there's more. Every single month, I do 2 monthly reading challenges, the first of which is Adventure in Eldia, created by G from Book Roast, and the prompt of July is to read when it's light. So for this one, I don't have to pick a specific book as far as I understand, but I just need to read any of my books when it's light outside, which is perfectly fine with me. I read while it's light, I read while it's dark, I don't discriminate. And then the second monthly reading challenge that I do is the Buzzword Reading Challenge, created by Kayla from Books and Lala, and the prompt for July for that is weather words. So I had to pick something that has weather or weather related words in the title. I have a bazillion books that feature storm in them, but some of them require other books to be read first, so I decided to go another way with another very unexpected book that I've owned since, I don't know, several years now and never thought about picking up, and the book is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I know that this is a fantasy / science fiction or something like that. I know that it's very weird according to some people, and I know that some people very, very much enjoy it. I think there are elves or something similar here. I don't know really. I'm kind of excited to read this. I'm very curious because, again, I've heard so many things about it, but it's not been on my radar at all. And now, all of a sudden, it gets picked up. I guess this is the month of the underdogs. But there is still more, because on the 1st of July was released one of my most anticipated releases for 2023, and that is Secret Project number 3 by Brandon Sanderson, that goes by the title Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. Now, I don't know anything about this book besides the fact that I believe it's part of the Cosmere, and as a backer of the Kickstarter, I already received the ebook, so there is no chance I don't read this book this month, which, if I'm not mistaken, makes a total of 9 books that I need to read in the month of July. Which is definitely not an impossible number to achieve. I mean, I read most of the months of this year more than 10 books. It's just that I don't know exactly how I feel about a part of these books, but maybe I will be nicely surprised. You never know. That's part of the charm of playing a TBR game, because you get yourself out of your comfort zone, and sometimes you get to surprise yourself nicely. Other times not so much, but let's not think about it. And that'll do it for my TBR for July. Please let me know what you're reading this month, and if you have any specific opinion about any of the books on my TBR, I'll really appreciate it. Spoiler free, of course. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see my wrap up for June, you can check out this video. Bye!